Vancouver keeps a file that took 120 minutes to write and 11 seconds to decide. BC Place, July the 7th. No goals, no mistakes anyone can point to. Just two nations refusing to give the other an inch for 2 full hours. Until football stops asking players to be brilliant and starts asking them to be brave. A penalty spot, a crossbar, a goalkeeper's hand. And by the time it's over, Switzerland, a nation whose World Cup story usually ends quietly, in the round nobody remembers, are through to a quarter-final they haven't reached since they hosted this tournament themselves, 72 years ago. We open the file, minutiae. One nation, one story, the fall before the triumph. For most of its history, Switzerland at the World Cup has been a footnote written in respectable, forgettable draws. Solid, organized, rarely dangerous. That reputation followed them into this game against a Colombia side many had picked to go further. Technical, dangerous in transition, carrying the weight of a nation that has waited since 2018 to erase its own penalty scar against England. Neither team blinks. 90 minutes pass with the scoreboard exactly where it started. Extra time arrives and still nothing changes. Two nations, both quietly desperate not to be the ones remembered for the mistake. Picture the two benches at the 120th minute, Colombia's staff, watching a team built to attack in transition, find no space all night, because Switzerland refused to open the game up. Switzerland's staff, watching a defensive game plan executed almost perfectly for 2 straight hours, knowing one lost moment of concentration changes everything. Nerve, unlike talent, cannot be scouted in advance. It comes down to the spot. Colombia go first, and the tension that couldn't be broken in 120 minutes breaks in an instant. Davinson Sánchez strikes his kick too well, too high. It comes back off the crossbar. Then Gregor Kobel, Switzerland's goalkeeper, guesses right and gets down to deny Cucho Hernández. Rubén Vargas steps up. There is no hesitation in his run-up. No sign that he understands what this kick means for a country that has waited generations for this exact moment. He finishes it, Switzerland 4, Colombia 3, on penalties. But here's what should worry the rest of this tournament. This was not a lucky escape built on individual brilliance. Switzerland won this the hard way. By not being broken, a goalless draw against a talented Colombia side is not an accident. It's a plan executed for 120 straight minutes without a single crack. This is the first time in the country's history they have won back-to-back knockout matches at the same World Cup. Their quarter-final opponent now is Argentina, the defending champions. The file has been wrong before tonight. For Colombia, the file closes on a painful repeat, eliminated on penalties in consecutive World Cups. England did it in 2018, and now a Swiss goalkeeper's glove does it again. Not a collapse, just the smallest possible margin twice in the 2 tournaments that mattered most. Say the number out loud, 72 years. The last time Switzerland stood in a World Cup quarter-final, they were the hosts, and the game looked almost unrecognizable from the one played in Vancouver. Generations of Swiss footballers grew up, played, and retired without ever getting this far. Kobel wasn't born. Vargas wasn't born. And now their names sit next to a date that has waited 3 generations for a new entry. That is what makes this different from a good result. It is not a surprise. It is an overdue correction, a country quietly building something for years, finally getting the shootout to go its way at the one tournament where the whole world was watching. Compare it to Colombia's file, sitting open on the other side of this story. A nation with generational talent that has now watched 2 World Cups end from 12 yards against 2 different opponents with the same result. What's missing is the one variable no training ground can replicate: the composure to walk up to that spot with a country's patience riding on your right foot. Argentina will not be intimidated by a 72-year gap. The defending champions have seen every version of the underdog story before. The file on Switzerland does not promise a miracle in the next round. It promises only that they have already done the harder part. They have stopped being a team that loses politely. One shootout is not a legacy, it's a door. Minutiae. If this hit, like it, share it with one football friend, And subscribe, a new file opens tomorrow. The files never close.